flamme, tu m'as quitté, où t'en allais avec un homme criminel et que moi, quel espoir et quel avenir, je marche pas bon.
Hello, this is Francis. I said, this is Dot.
Yes, AOC. Yes.
There was also the presentation.
Il y a une conférence.
Oh,
Moi j'en ai un peu plus large, j'ai fait Goya.
Il y a cette branche-là ici. Cette branche-là, il l'estime à un poids de 72 tonnes anglaises, ce qui donne environ 70 tonnes.
Why don't you just put her?
We ought to shoot on dog now.
C'est les vieux bars de Banton. Allons danser, Colinda. Allons danser, Colinda. Come on, boy. Anyway, we were trying to get that done.
Almost in a goal.
I am, and I did the same thing to Maggie. Maggie got sick. Maggie she must have anxiety. Speeding. She had told you that her heart was beating fast. She wakes up at 2 o'clock in the morning. Her heart wakes up. Hi, and look, I can't believe it. Her heart beats. Like she's gonna have a
You begin when I get the drum roll, okay? I mean, you're going to begin starting with the chant. Stop the chant, and when I get the drum roll, okay? Try that again. Oh, no, don't I want to make sure it doesn't feel right. Okay, the top. The what? This is Julia. That's Marian. Why are you dancing? I thought maybe you had an accident. What? Thank you. You got a hole? Y'all thought of everything. Try to forget it. As of now, you're going to start with your chant, okay? And then you're going to stop chanting. You can't feel when I give the drum. And the announcer will do her part and your own, okay? So we're going to wait just a few minutes, and I'll just the physical sign to start chanting. Come from God. Okay? Little squirrel that got behind. She's the best. Okay, folks, let's take it. Oh, okay. It's time. Amelia, we're starting. Now, here's what I would like when she starts to chant. All right, it's going to French and Spanish going in over her, right? So I want you to be out here, and since most of your audience is here, you might want to come forward. Okay. All right. Talk to people when you do the chant, okay, so they can hear you. So you might want to go right now. In fact, just go stand over that there, okay? And then when I give the drum roll, but you have to come over here, okay? I come over here, and then you wait until it's your part again. Okay.
So who's starting?
Do you need your script to do the veiny and all of that stuff?
No, not that.
You need your script to do the bang.
No. Not for that.
So why don't you leave it here? Why don't you leave it on the chair? And then you just do that part. And just talk to the people, okay? Yeah.
Oh, she has a lot of batteries.
Thank you all for coming. We're going to start now. I want to welcome you to this special event celebrating this magnificent oak tree. All right, and enjoy the show. And it's not just a show, by the way, it is a ritual, and you will be invited to participate at certain moments, if you so desire, and in the way in which you desire. Okay? All right, thanks for coming.
Come unto me. Come into my arms. Come, rest in my leaves. Come unto me. Come into my arms. Come, rest in my leaves. Come unto me. Come into my arms. Come, rest in my leaves. Come unto me. Come into my arms. Come, rest in my leaves.
Hear ye! A reading from the Constitution of the Live Oak Society of the Louisiana Garden Club Federation. Whereas the live oak tree is one of God's creatures that has been keeping quiet for a long time, just standing there contemplating the situation without having very much to say, but only increasing in size, beauty, strength, and firmness day by day, without getting the attention and appreciation that it merits from its anthropomorphic fellow mortals. And whereas it has been found that the organization and publication are a good means of promoting the influence and service in the world, therefore, this Constitution of the Live Oak Society is hereby ordained and established. Article number 1. The name of this association shall be the Live Oak Society, and its officers shall be as follows. President, 7 Sisters Live Oak, 200 Fountain Street, Mandeville, Louisiana. Girth, 37 feet. First Vice President, the Middleton Oak, Ashley River Road, Charleston, South Carolina. Girth, 31 feet. Second Vice President, St. John Cathedral Oak, 2914 St. John Street, Lafayette, Louisiana. Girth, 26 feet, 7 inches. Height, 125 feet, with a horizontal spread of 210 feet. The largest limb is said to weigh 72 tons. Age 450 years.
450 years old. 450 springs and summers. 450 years of comings and goings. And I remember it all. I remember magnificent sunrises and sunsets, luminescent full moons and new moons. I remember as if it were yesterday. I remember when I told time by the shadow I cast, the position of my own shadow. At night, my light was the silver shimmer of the moon, and the sky was like fancy lace dotted with stars. Occasionally, my nights would be lit with dazzling displays of lightning, which I enjoyed, except once I didn't enjoy it, when I was struck, a long time ago. You can still see the place, the bald, black space where a limb once was, up near the top. But now it's gone. To this day, I still miss what I have always considered to be an especially precious part of me. Yet, I continue to enjoy the lightning and the rains, the glorious rains, those cooling, cleansing, thirst-quenching waters. They pour down on me, and I dance for joy. Not with my roots, of course, but with my branches and leaves. You should have seen me a couple of 100 years ago when I was flexible and young. Today, I can only ruffle up my leaves and shake only the smallest branches. No more wide, graceful bending in the winds as I once did. But that's okay. My age has served me well, especially during hurricanes. When I was young, back in the days before you gave names to those terrifying furies, one of them almost broke me. Now, when the hurricanes come, only my smallest twigs feel the pain. Blessed be. My 450 years are but a spark in the eons of this land. I have heard from my ancestors, the ancient ones, the tales of this land before my time, and I can tell you, it has always been lush and green and verdant, and the original people have been here for as long as any of us can remember. You call them Indians. A silly name, since this isn't India. I know them by other names. The Caddo, the Appaloosa, the Homa, the Chitimacha, and especially the Atacapa. Where you are standing now is the land of the Atacapa. Look around you, and for as far as your eye can see, from a time going back to before I was born, this was the home of the Atacapa. Their name in your language means human flesh eater. Now, that sounds terrible to you, I know, but it was only a ritual. They only ate the heart of their dead enemies, the ones who had died in battle. And they ate them only in ceremony. Perhaps it was a way of honoring the slain brave warriors, a way of incorporating some of that spirit of bravery into themselves. Today, you do transplants, and in this way, you honor those who die by helping another person to live. Blessed be. Atacapa. When they spoke, they sounded like the twittering birds. They hunted the bountiful game and fished the abundant fish. They were fierce fighters and feared by their enemies, but I saw them differently. I saw them as simple people and shy people, and because of their timidity, they did not last long after the arrival of the Europeans. This was a great loss for me. We had been so close during the first 200 years of my life. I had grown to love their campfires and their ceremonies, which were not just flesh-eating occasions, I assure you, and I was always included. There was singing and dancing, the rhythm of the drums. I liked to shade them from the fierceness of the summer sun. I would hum soft music as they slept beneath my limbs. I would cradle their little ones. Come, come unto me. Come into my arms. Come, rest in my leaves. They often talked to me, for they considered me a friend from Tree Nation, and that I was, one of their relations. They always said please when they took from me, and they always said thank you upon receiving. They were on their way to the bayou to drink during the dry spells. I heard their steady walk through the tall prairie grasses and the low rumble of their contented voices. When the great change came, it came quickly, very quickly. First, there was the sound of many voices, speaking in new and different tongues.
This is my land. I take this piece and I'll take that piece. No, down by the line. No, where the tall grasses grow. My land. This is my land. Over the fence. Down by the bayou, into the swamps. No, out where the tall grasses grow. My tree. My rock. My squirrel.
Cet arbre, c'est mon arbre.
Thus, when I had lived past more than 200 rings, I came to be owned. For the first time in my life, somebody owned me. At first, I laughed. How could a human own a tree? How could an anthropomorphic fellow mortal imagine himself superior to me? But I stopped laughing when I heard the distant thunder and there was no lightning. The birds brought me the news. Their homes in the tops of the bald cypresses were falling. There was chopping and sawing, and my near relations were falling by the thousands, crashing and splashing into the marshes and waters, floated away, gone forever, never to be seen again. They told me, the Europeans have sticks that shoot out fire and smoke, and they can kill anything in very large numbers. The Atacapa, the Appaloosa, the Chitamacha, each other. I heard the thunder of frightened hooves and the bellowing of animals in pain and fear, running from the pursuit of these new hunters. That's when I became quiet, very quiet, and prayed that they would not notice me. This was the time of my great silence. I stood here in silence, watching the world fall down around me. I grew 50, maybe 75 new rings. I can't remember, no. But I do remember the day when one of them finally did notice me. The one they called Father Barriere. He was with Mouton, the one who now owned me. They were riding on horses, and they were looking. What were they looking for?
Pourquoi pas ici?
Why not here? The priest said as he got off his horse and came closer to me. He came closer to me.
Si belle, elle est si belle.
I saw something in his eyes. And for the first time in a long time, I was moved to speak again. Come unto me. Come into my arms. Come and rest into my knees.
Tout ça, c'est si bien. C'est bien bon, tout ça.
La vie dans ses feuilles, malheureux, malheureux. La vie dans ses feuilles, malheureux, dentée. La vie dans ses feuilles, malheureux, malheureux. La vie dans ses feuilles, malheureux, dentée. Et dans cette habillate branche, dans cette habillate branche. Et la branche dans la vie dans ses feuilles, malheureux, malheureux. La vie dans ses feuilles, malheureux, dentée. La vie dans ses feuilles, malheureux, malheureux. La vie dans ses feuilles, malheureux, malheureux. Et dans cette branche, il y a un nick. Et dans cette branche, il y a un nick. Et le nick est dans la branche, et la branche est dans l'arbre. Et l'arbre est dans ses feuilles, malheureux, malheureux. L'arbre est dans ses feuilles, malheureux, dentées. L'arbre est dans ses feuilles, malheureux, dentées. L'arbre est dans ses feuilles, malheureux, malheureux. L'arbre est dans ses feuilles, malheureux, dentées.
We spoke together, and he told me things. He told me God had called him to this piece to build a church that would grow beside me. I was saved. One of the lucky ones, one of the chosen ones. So far from that day forward, I vowed never to be silent again. I vowed to be the living memory of this place through time and to tell my memories to anyone who would listen, to anyone who would listen to me.
Mis raíces tiemblan cuando siento la frialdad de lo desconocido. Mis brazos están cansados y se hunden con el peso del mundo en mis ramas. Mis brazos se hunden cuando estoy cansado. Mis brazos quieren alcanzar cuando pienso en la felicidad que yo puedo dar. Mis dedos raspan y se estrechan por el amor que yo puedo dar. Mis hojas brillan cuando sueño en el amor. Yo creo en la madre naturaleza, en su poder y en buena fortuna. Sí, yo creo en la madre naturaleza, en aquel poder de buena fortuna.
So many languages, so many songs. So many of you have come to me from so many distant lands, your parents and your grandparents and their parents before them. You Spanish, you French, you Americans, my dear Acadians and noble descendants of Africa, and you who are left of the original ones. All of you have come to me seeking refreshment or shade, a moment of peace or consolation. I have held you when you were children, climbing, swinging, playing with me. I have listened to your sorrows without most of you even know I could hear. I have watched you watching me, and I have appreciated those moments of wonder in your eyes. For I have seen 3 churches rise and fall, and rise again before me. Yet I abide. It has not been easy. Not easy witnessing so much harm that you have done to one another.
Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land. Tell old Pharaoh to let my people go. When Israel was in Egypt's land, tell old Pharaoh to let my people go. Oppressed so hard they could not stand. Tell old Pharaoh to let my people go.
When the original ones would come to me, desolate in their wandering and robbed of all they had known, I would tell them stories of how it used to be, to keep them proud and strong and able to endure. When the exiles of Acadia would come to me weeping for their homeland, I would try to make them love me so they could be happier here in their new home. And when they were mocked and looked down upon and forbidden to speak their native tongue, I would speak to them in French to help them to remember. Venez, venez, venez chez moi. And when the slaves would come to me, weary and broken, I would reach out my arms and try to hold them, to offer them a moment of sweet protection. For I knew by then what it was to be owned, as if there was no soul beneath the skin. And when the blue soldiers came to free the slaves, they made their camp here beside me, and I saw the blue soldiers treated the ones who had been slaves no better. And after the war, I saw how still they were, kept separate, even in the church, in the house of God. still they were kept separate, as if one color of skin was better than another. And I cried out, "No! No, it isn't true!" I looked at myself, looked at my own skin, and I saw brown, and it was beautiful. So I cried out, but no one was listening. So I began a low rumble, a soft whooshing that went on for years. Leave this place. Leave this place. Start your own church. Start your own. When the day came for them to go, they took their glorious bell with them, which I would sorely miss, for I liked it so much. I liked to raise my hands and dance with the ringing of their bell. That day, I raised my hands to wave goodbye instead, knowing that it had to be. Later, I would raise my hands to welcome them back when the time of the separation was over. It was then that I heard someone say, "Black is beautiful." Finally, somebody in this century was listening to me. Blessed be.
Should I feel discouraged? And why should the shadows come? Why should my heart be lonely and long from heaven and home, as Jesus is my portion, a constant friend is He. His eyes on a sparrow, and I know He watches me. I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm free. His eyes is on a shadow, and I know He watches us.
I'm inviting one who inspired my life, especially in the recent years, serving the African American communities in various places. The one I invite to be with us now, the Congress of a Community of Sisters. She is Blessed Mother Catherine Drexel, the Congress of the Community of the Sisters of Blessed Sacrament. Heroine seeking justice, equality, and peace. Praise the Lord.
I want to invite the spirit of Bishop Joe Francis, who is here directly in the back, and a man who brought justice to this area, and a man who wrote the pastoral on brothers and sisters to us.
Some of the holy ones are names you have forgotten, like the simple working man who wiped the blood from his hands before returning to his work of building this church. My arms have grown heavy and dropped to the ground with the weight of so much dying. I folded in my branches and tried not to hear each time there was talk of another war. I dropped my leaves and tried not to see each time they brought the dead bodies home. Each life is precious, each death a loss, and every birth is a miracle. Only a few times did I get a glimpse of the mystery, a man and a woman becoming one. The moon was full, and I heard the sounds of their ecstasy. Time moves fast now, very fast. I have seen more changes during these last 90 rings than in all of the time before them. Our whole city has grown up around me, building after building, concrete and more concrete. And now this ugly thing you call a parking lot. I have to tell you, I do not like this parking lot. Once, the wet earth was all around me for drinking, and I could see for miles and miles. Once, I stood at the edge of the prairie, to the west, and at the edge of the woods to the east, watching. That is how I grew so large for so long. Today, I stand in the last piece of open earth that I can see and am surrounded by concrete and machines. My dear horse friends are gone, and lazy Sunday afternoons with them resting in my lacy shade. I look up, remembering the cries of wild birds above me, and see it is only the hum of mechanical birds headed for far-off places. Your cars are pretty and shiny. I must admit that I have not yet learned how to speak with them, and they give off a terrible smell. I miss the silence and the shimmering of stars, which seem to disappear with the coming of your light. And the rain. You must have noticed that the rain is tainted with strange tastes washed from the polluted sky. What is happening to us? Do you know what you are doing? Or why you are doing it? Is it happiness you seek? You have so many things, so much more than my dear Atacapa, or Acadians, or the farmers, or the slaves. Yet, you seem no happier to me. You just seem busy. You are the busiest generations of humans I have ever known. I have no time, I hear you say. I have no time. You are anxious, very anxious. What are you afraid of? What are you longing for? Speak to me. Tell me. Tell me what is in your heart. I want to help you. I want to be your friend. Speak. Speak. Speak unto me. Open your hearts. Speak. Speak and be free. Speak. Speak. Speak.
Professor Ernest Gaines, who teaches here in Lafayette, is the author of the autobiography of Miss Jane Pittman. In his book, he writes, This tree has seen much, and it knows much. Talking to an oak tree is not crazy. It is the nobility you respect.
Speak unto me. Speak and be free. Because you have been so open with me, I wish you to continue speaking. Speak with me. Speak. There are times when I do speak to trees. I really do. And I also speak to rocks. And there are times when they have spoken back to me. And so today I want to talk to this tree, to this oak, which really is magnificent. You really are magnificent. And I want to thank you for the moments in which I have felt close to you. And I want to ask you to help us, because sometimes I'm afraid that these things of life and beauty may not last much longer.
This is really my tree because I grew up in this church. I was baptized here, I made my communion, and I was confirmed. And I can remember the days when Grandpa BoudreauX used to come to church on Sunday mornings in his horse and buggy, and he'd tie his horse somewhere around in here. And this tree provided shades for the horses while we attended Mass. There was usually a bunch of us climbing into the buggy to come with Grandpa to church, and I remember that very distinctly. And I appreciate the tree.
Oh, tree, do you remember when there were busloads of children that would come to visit way back in the late 40s? I was among them. We lived in Vermilion Parish, and my first trip to Lafayette included a visit to this tree. Well, I know you've noticed that over the years I've come and gone from this city. And whenever I return, I come visit you. You always welcome me with open arms.
I have to say this in 2 languages. Árbol, oh, qué bonito, qué grande eres. My sister say that. Oh, what a beautiful tree. What did you call this tree? How this tree ended up in here? It's so big. I hope they don't make it into a furniture. No, espero que no lo hagan. No, porque es muy bonito. No, espero que no. Oh, continue being beautiful.
And the others who would like to come forward and take the risk of speaking to a tree. No. They do love you, though. They do. Because because you have been so open with me, I would like to tell you a little secret before you go. You might want to come a little bit closer so you can hear. I'm not really 450 years old. Actually, I'm more than 500 years old. The fact is that I was a seedling acorn when your Christopher Columbus first landed on the southern island shore. So I'm old and knobbed and gnarly. But I'm still beautiful, don't you think? Can you imagine anything more beautiful for a live oak than this textured spiraling bark and my crowning leaves of glory? I have never coveted the birch's peeling silver white bark or the crepe myrtle's flowering blossoms. So I would like for you to do the same. I would like for you to love yourselves and admire the beauty of one another just as you are. And I would like for you to love each day of your life and give thanks for all that is living. I don't know how much longer I will last. I've already outlived the usual time for my kind. My limbs are growing weaker. So tell your children, as much as I regret it, they really can't swing on me anymore without breaking me. I'm also a little bit sick. Some kind of virus, they say. But I'm not afraid. I like to think of the resurrection fern that's draped all over me and springs back to life each time a good rain falls. My arms are sinking back to the earth, back to the mother from which I come. My seeds have been spread and planted. My descendants are rising up everywhere. And you came to speak with me today, and that's good. That's a good sign, don't you think? For I am your breath, and you are mine. Please, take each other's hand now, and breathe in deeply. Take each other's hand. Come close to me. Come close to me and to one another, and breathe deeply from all that is living and all that is green. Breathe. Breathe in and out. Breathe out. This is life. This is love. C'est l'amour. More love exists than you can even imagine. Try to imagine. You are never alone. Breathe in. Breathe out. Respira. Adentro, afuera. In and out. In and out. We come. We go. We come. Like the stars. Like the atoms. We are made of the same atoms. Remember this. What is done to you is done to me. And what you do to me, you do also to yourselves. In the heart of the Great Spirit, we are one. May you be blessed, and your children, and and your children's children throughout the ages. Blessed, blessed, blessed be. I hope you remember to come again. I do get lonely sometimes.